Okay, this is the
All right.
Gwich'in map project Zoom presentation to Michelle Ethun, formerly working at the BLM, also now working at the Department of Transportation, but she's still working on the central BLM plan for the central Yukon area. My maps proved very beneficial to her, the plan that she was working on, and it's also in this presentation. I put in there as an example to the White House how my map was already affecting land laws. Um, so um, so we'll just get started here. But before I get started, you're welcome to comment too, Michelle, if you want. But I really want to give an introduction. My name is Matt Gilbert. I have a master's degree. I'm a writer. I'm a published writer. I have a gigantic climate report coming out very soon by three different publishers called the Gwich'in Climate Report. It's generated a lot of buzz. Everyone from the White House to people in my village are looking forward to it. You can pre-order now. Um, so I've generated a lot of prestige with my research. However, I am quitting after tonight. This is going to be my last presentation. I'm quitting the lecture circuit and the speaking circuit and this research in general, and I'll tell you why. I'm probably even Michelle is shocked to hear that. um, it's not. I get a lot of compliments and I get a lot of encouragement and support, but a lot of that's not translating into actual money or jobs or and there's no institute yet for this. Two people told me I'm probably ahead of my time, with this stuff. Maybe why that's why I'm not getting making a living off this, even though people say it's interesting and intriguing, but that's how far it goes. That's how far it goes. It doesn't go beyond that. Um, so there is an institute in Canada started by a bunch of young Native American professionals like me called the Indigenous Futures Lab. And I spoke to the leader of that group. His name is Dr. DeAndre Smiles. He's an American Indian from Minnesota, but he moved to Canada a long time ago, and he's been living there most of his life in Canada, and that's where he started that lab. And I think that's going to be where most of my work is going to be from now on, because unfortunately, I don't think Alaska's caught up, with Canada and with other places that appreciate this work more. Hopefully they'll start, I don't know, um, because I'm such a sharp researcher and such a nerd. um, I am a nerd. Maybe I don't communicate the best with people in the professional community too. Maybe other people who have better, more charismatic skills will take this work further. I hope so. I pray that happens, because work like this definitely needs to be a part of Western science and Western land laws. Um, and you'll see why after the presentation. Do you have any comments about that, Michelle, really quick before I start the presentation of everything I just said?
Well, I guess my number one comment would be I think that I understand, the need to move on and will be um well, we will have a loss, Alaska. But I think that the work is so important and what you're able to do to look at right. I, I think we are a long ways from being able to understand that and translate that into modern ways that we talk about science-based decisions. And so I'm so thankful for the work that you've done. And I
Thank you.
believe strongly that this work is going to continue.
But it it should, like, I mean, what you just said, I hear that a lot, but it should really be supported institutionally. Like I should have my own office, and I should be at, like, an institute at IARC building in Fairbanks, not giving you this presentation from the village, I think that's an example of what I'm talking about. It's people compliment it, but they don't really want to fund it or structurally support it and ingrain it into the existing institutional environment. Do you agree? Do you agree or not? Or it's fine either way. I just want to state that.
Yeah, I
You're
I think
breaking up
there's
again.
an appetite for it. I think that
Okay.
we recognize right now the need. Oh,
Uh-huh.
I appetite and recognize the need, but it needs to be institutionalized. You are correct.
Yeah, it needs to be institutionalized. That's correct. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah. Yeah. And I can't afford to wait anymore, and I'm burnt out, I'm burnt out to doing it in poverty, as you can see behind me. Um, I need to go into another, I'm going into another career. I've already started. So I've already done the career switch already. So I just came back to do this one last presentation. Anyways, I have a feeling whoever's watching this is probably going to be bored by now, so we better get started, and maybe we could talk afterwards, for a couple of minutes. I'll just get started. Okay. Okay. Um, can you see this PowerPoint? Okay, Michelle. Michelle, can you see this PowerPoint? Okay. Hey,
Yep, I
Michelle.
got it. It's
Okay, okay, cool. I'll get started.
right up in front of the screen. It's good.
So the
Yeah.
Gwich'in Regional, thanks. This was made for the White House Native American Climate Committee that I was supposed to give yesterday, but I just found out just hours before that it was just requested, and I knew they weren't going to show up for someone like me. So I thought I'd just do it with a friend. I don't know Michelle that well, but we're friendly, and she's an official from BLM. So I wanted to do it with a friend or an official, and so it's with Michelle Ethun from BLM. So anyway, so here we go. It's a Gwich'in regional mapping project, a government-funded mapping project that spanned 10 years, involved 6 villages and many camps from 2012 to 2022. It was based on some ANILCA maps in 1980. I'll get to that later. As you can see, it encompasses this land right here with my mouse. I'm circling it, the red part. They did a regional map in Canada too. So I'm gonna connect mine with theirs, and we're probably gonna have a huge one there. I haven't done that yet because I've been busy, just busy, busy, busy all the time, like everybody. So those are the villages. I was presenting this to non-Alaskans, so I had to give them this, extra since Michelle's an Alaskan. But maybe they might still look at this. So I'll still this Arctic village is here where I started, and then Vinitai's here, Fort Yukon's here, Chalkitsik, Birch Creek, Beaver, Stevens. I did all these. I went up this river with Bob Sattler and the TCC boat, and we documented. We visited some of the place names here. Didn't Canyon Village is abandoned. I didn't go there. I didn't go to Chalkitsik too, but I did interview an elder in Fort Yukon that was from Chalkitsik, and we did mapping at Chalkitsik. So didn't have funding to go there, and plus there's not a lot of airline services between those two places too. Um, this is the Gwich'in land, all mapped, everything I did all put together. As you can see, it's very voluminous, very congested. Uh, so when you're flying over in an airplane, it looks empty, but it used to be the home to all that. I like to say it's like think of any suburb in any American city, right? Like Farmers Loop. You're driving down Farmers Loop, right? And you see all those houses on the hill, or you drive down South Anchorage, you see all those houses on the hillside or mountainside. It's so, let's say all those people just disappeared, right? Or I don't want to say die, I don't want to be negative, but let's just say they all disappeared one day, right? And it's like when people say there was nobody living there, it's like you saying there was nobody living in those suburbs, you know, because it was really populated at one time. Um, they were reduced to small villages from mass deaths in towns from the epidemics and towns for, they were forced to live in towns for schools, post offices, and stores. Villages are not native. I was shocked to hear that. Because we always moved around. My mom said, my mom was the one that told me that villages are actually new to native people. Isn't that interesting? They're not native villages there, because native people were always moving around. They had like big annual circles of migrations. They would go from camp to camp because they had to keep. It was like a hustle, you know. They had to, like, I don't want to say hustle, but they had to keep going to resource rich places by the season, you know. And Gwich'in land use, 90% of land use mapped in a 2,000-mile radius fell into disuse from severely popular, just like I said, from the European plagues and that ravaged Gwich'in in the early 20th century. Modernization, the competing luxurious culture and cash-based demands of the modern world took most of the Gwich'in off the land and allowed a lot of places to fall into disuse. A small camp revitalization movement is trying to happen right now. Hopefully it will happen. It started by my cousin, Hilda. Her and her husband are trying to take the kids back to the camps because they've been in disuse for 40 years because of what I just said, the competing, luxurious, comforting, you know, modern culture, um, demands of the cash-based new modern culture, modern world. Met the Gwich'in measured distance by full steps, like a full step by a grown man or a grown woman is 1 meter, right? Three feet. So what they did was they would measure 33 full steps by half a chain, 66 is a full chain. So they would know a camp would be 5,000 meters away, and they would know where to, they would, when they walk to that camp, they would know rest stops at water sources and subsistence spots on the way there. To this day, they know that because one of our native guys, Edward, walked from here to Vinitai like 15 years ago or so. He didn't tell anybody, he didn't make a big noise about it, he just did it, you know, and he knew, he said, I asked him how he did it because some people were trying to do it and they didn't succeed. It was a big media thing and none of them succeeded. And he said that he knew where to stop for water. He knew where to stop for, he made sure to stop for 2 days halfway there, you know. So that's the way they traveled in the old days, you know. They knew the land like the back of their hands. Young Gwich'in hunter James Martin said, he's my age, he's 43, and that's what he said. My great grandpa James would reach Fort Yukon in 1 night or less with a dog team, whereas now it would probably take you a week, even if you had the fastest snow machine. Um, the trails fell into disuse over maybe less than a week. Some of these guys are pretty fast, probably 3, 4 days. But the point is how good he knew the land, you know. The trails fell into disuse over 40 years ago, just like I said, so they mostly disappeared to vegetation. But native people, by their instinct, could retrace them if they really tried, but hardly anyone's interested. Again, because of, you know, modern world, which I'm going to explain later. I visited Copper Center, and there was a native woman there that said something very interesting. I asked her about all the encroachment issues because they have a lot of those. She said that I'm not we've been dealing with that forever, the encroachment and trespassing. She says, I'm not really worried about that. What I'm really worried about is our native kids that are not interested in protecting the tribal land and not interested in living on the tribal land. A lot of them are moving to Anchorage and basically want to be Western, you know. I don't want to generalize though, because a lot of native people, they reach an age where they want to go home again, you know. Hopefully they